Hello, 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 everybody. Happy Labor Day. Happy Monday. I hope everyone is ready to talk some sister wives and to talk some forbidden love. We're almost to the end of our journey on forbidden love. Oh, James, I don't know if it's me. I can't hear you.
There we go.
Oh, okay. I'm like, because that one time that I was like, James, your sound is off, and everyone's like, no, girl, your sound is off. All right, I'm gonna play my little Hillary Duff opener, and then we'll get started.
Okay.
All right, hold on one second.
Let's go back to the beginning.
My name is Cody Brown, and you've got to meet my family. I'm a polygamist, but we're not the polygamists you think you know. I have 3 awesome wives, Mary, Janelle, and Christine. My family's on the verge of a huge change because love should be multiplied, not divided.
Love should be multiplied, not divided. I'm losing my mind.
You know who is struggling with this whole multiplying love thing? This guy, Andy. This poor guy. He is struggling. So season 3, episode 8 is titled Another Wife. And the whole gist of this episode is we meet the Browns' former neighbors, members of their church. They are married with 6 kids, and they're really feeling the pressure to be polygamist. What did you think of this episode, James?
Well, I think it opened my eyes, or at least I won't even say it opened my eyes as much as I realized that at some point, or at least early on, they were still getting pushback, even from people who are in their community. So it's it's funny because when they argue with people who are monogamous, they always kind of couch all their defensive arguments, and you guys just don't really understand what it's about. These people understand what it's about, and they're both voicing a lot of the concerns that a lot of regular folks would have, mainstream folks would have about polygamy. So I thought it was, in that vein, I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, what we will get to Andy and Nicole. First, let's check in with the kids. Hunter, we get a status update. He's doing a lot better. I'm really happy to hear that he has do you enroll in football, or he is signed up or tried out or whatever for football?
Well, so it depends.
He has an outlet. He can pretend he's beating up polygamy or whatever. But it's nice to hear. We get a really cute shot of him and Truly together, and just knowing that they have this special bond is so it's so joyful to see that. Also, Madison has made some changes. She's lightened her hair, and she's decided she's not going to have an attitude anymore.
Right. Well, there's a point though I think is very pivotal, and I never really thought about it till you just mentioned it. I heard you mention it just now, and that's the description of Hunter. Like, without Hunter planning it or really putting any effort in it, he cast himself as a person who is tied to and bonded with his siblings. Like, it's really big for him. And you can see that throughout the series, that that's actually the case, that Hunter is the one that is all about the siblings and a big family, and he loves his brothers and sisters. He's all about the family. But when you counteract that, there's a converse opinion when Robin describes him as, oh, when I told him I was pregnant, he was so against it, which gives the air, if without that information that, he's presented, like as a, for instance, in this episode with Truly, you would think that Hunter is the one who just doesn't like the other kids, and he's not about them. You know what I mean? And he's not about the family. So I think that that's a really interesting point too.
Yeah, it really made my heart happy. I think as a parent, my mom used to say this to my brother and I all the time growing up, because my mom's very like, we don't know, our days are numbered, and you and your brother are all each other has. My mom doesn't really talk like that, but you get
Right.
the gist.
I got you.
She very much wanted to drive the point home that, like, my brother is the only person like predisposed in this world to have my back and like nurture that relationship kind of thing. And that's not to say, because as we see with the Browns, like with the parent-child relationships, if a relationship is toxic, you definitely don't need to. I would advise you should not nurture a relationship that is not serving you. But it is nice to see that, I think, with all of these kids, with all of the Browns, sibling wise, they all care very deeply for each other, even the McMansion kids. And I don't mean to say that to like single them out, but Robin has singled them out over the years and isolated them and othered them. And to hear Gwen and McKelty and anyone speak about Dayton, Aurora, Brianna, Solomon, and Ari, like not on the show, they're very much, these are their siblings, full 100% siblings. So that has always been really nice to see.
Right. And I think that's also a good point to make, especially from looking back at last episode when we were talking about it last week with regard to Mary yelling at the kids about, taking care of their siblings and trying to present the family as having even Cody at one point had said that the siblings have a culture of bullying one another.
Yeah.
And then to see like actual Hunter, he's coming over and he's being extreme. Like Hunter's not a small child. You know what I mean?
No, he's got games.
Right. Dude's beefy. He's a beefy cat. So to see him with a baby who is the most fragile is, you know what I mean? Like it's touching and it's endearing, and it goes directly opposite to the image that they were trying to present to the audience with the whole, you guys are a bunch of bullies, you heathens, you're savages running around taking advantage of these poor children. And then the next week you have Hunter feeding a baby. Like,
I did not grow up in a big family. I have one brother. My best friend since childhood is an only child. So did not grow up in like big sibling environments. But from what I've heard about people I know and have interacted with people that have like 3-4 siblings, it's not uncommon for like 2 to be closer than some other. Like you might have a favorite sister or a favorite brother, dare you say, that you're just vibe with more than the others. I don't think that's uncommon. So yeah, to see that had to have just burned Robin's booty, because to see Hunter like giving all this attention and affection to Truly, and he wasn't excited about Saul's her pregnancy with Saul. How dare he?
Right. The chosen one. How do you celebrate this mongrel when you didn't hip hurrah for the chosen one? Like, I think that's a really good point. I think that might have been another thing that just kind of burned her up, especially after she watched it, because it was like a little bit when she mentioned it, that all of a sudden she had this big problem with how Hunter wasn't excited and how he didn't celebrate, and then all of a sudden, because according to the book, what Christine described, she said that Hunter was using Truly as kind of a pacifier. So when he would have a rough day or he was having a tough time with the transition from Lehigh to Vegas, he would come over to her house and hang out with Truly. And in fact, she referred to it as Hunter had to get his Truly time.
Yeah.
Where he would, spend that time with Truly. So this wasn't like a one-off thing. So I'm sure Robin knew about it. It was completely aware that this is how Hunter was conducting himself. And so when she said she's about to have a baby, to your point, and he was, he's standing there and he has a stone face. She, what the hell?
Yeah. Yeah, Robin's always just been jealous, jealous, and has to be. The thing is, and I guess this is what we see, what you should strive for in polygamy, right, is equality, but it's never that way in practice. Right. I mean, in Seeking Sister Wife, and I've never seen it where someone really gets it real equal. So
right.
KM, thank you so much for the for the super chat. I'm stumbling over my words. You mean nobody can make him, Hunter, move and ruin his life right when he's doing something he loves? What a nice change for him. I was shocked to hear that it had been an entire school year of these kids needing to adjust. That sucks.
Yeah. And you know what makes it worse is that we were only given a glimpse of how they would shuttle these kids around. So there is something to be said about, the feeling that you don't have connections or ties to your community or long-lasting friendships, especially when you can look back and say, the reason why I don't have these connections and long-lasting friendships is because every time I started to form one, you guys packed our bags up and shipped us off to somewhere else. So I never did have that sense of home, that sense of security, that sense of self. So it's amazing to me. I mean, to be honest with you, completely honest with you, it's amazing to me that these kids turned out as well as they did and as well-rounded as they did and as solid as they are, given the transient nature of the family. Like every time they turn around, apparently, like the longest I think they stayed anywhere was at the Lehigh house. And then before that, and then after that, they just bounced around.
Yeah, I mean, at one point, Janelle lived in a teepee.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. At one point, the family moved, and Janelle was like, "No, thank you," and kept all of her kids with her. So, yeah, this family only knows traumatic disruption to their lives. It's really sad.
Right, and I think that's actually what their, I guess to quote the Batman, or Bane, their victories made them weak because they did it so many times, and especially with moving from Las Vegas to Arizona, they had done it so many times to their kids, and their kids seemed to be turning out really well that what's the harm with one more move? And I think that move from Las Vegas to Arizona did a lot of lasting damage to a lot of the kids,
There's totally reasons why people have to move. Parents get job opportunities or transferred. Military families deal with deployments out of the country. I mean, very world-changing moves happen a lot. But there's typically a reason, and Cody never has a reason. And usually it's not uprooting your kids. I mean, I suppose, I don't know if people are military families in the chat, you can let us know. How many times did you have to move? Was it constant? like how Cody's moving his family? It just seems so... I mean, kids crave stability, whether they realize it or not. And
because that's the weird thing about it too, is that usually, even if it was like a military situation or as a financial situation, it's different. And typically those moves aren't accompanied with a slogan. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't come in and be like, where we go one, we go all. That doesn't make everything okay. You know what I mean? The only thing that would have been worse than that if he would have came up with like some kind of jingle, today we move. Like, that doesn't help me. You know what I mean? Put a smile on your face. Like, what?
Yeah. Oh, we have some feedback from our military families. Lots of moving every 2 or 3 years. But again, thank you for your service. Thank your parents for their service, because that is a family sacrifice for sure. And that is Christina here says, depending on your military specialty, you could move yearly, but 3 every 3 years is common. Wow.
Yeah, I can see that.
Wow. Jen says she went to 3 different second grades. Wow. And honestly, like that is such a sacrifice and that these families do. That is truly for non-military families like myself, truly appreciative of that. But it's nice to see that these kids are adjusting to Vegas. What's really funny too is how much shit like Logan and Hunter talk about Vegas, and both of them live in Vegas now.
Right.
Isn't that funny?
I hate it here. They never left. You know.
Oh yeah. So they all. And especially Logan was like, I'm going back to he's like, I'm going back to Utah as soon as I can. But he met Michelle and he settled down in Vegas. So
well, a good woman will change her mind every time. Like that's just
True. You know. All right, let's talk about Andy and Nicole. So these are the Browns' former neighbors and very active. Apparently, Christine is telling us that they were both both families were active in church. They were doing Sunday school together, but Andy and Nicole never entered the principal. They never took another wife. I found them fascinating. What was your take on them?
I did. I thought they were fascinating. I thought they looked good together. I know that's a weird thing to say, but yeah,
like it makes sense. You look at 2 people and you go, "Yeah, I get that."
Right. I see their relationship, and more to the point, I see their love and compassion for one another, and I think that the best thing that they did for themselves, even though they were curious about the principle and were interested in possibly pursuing it, I think the best thing for their marriage was that they didn't pursue the principle, because I think it would have destroyed what they had. So I think that the reason why their bond was so strong was because they weren't trying to spread themselves out amongst other people.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to skip ahead a little bit, because one of the things I found, I would have loved, there's these content creators on YouTube that do like body language analysis, and I find those videos so fascinating. I know it's not like an exact science or anything, but I would have loved some analysis of Andy's word choices to describe polygamy. He describes the courting process as he is concerned with being perceived as a pervert, or he used the word grotesque at one point. I forget what that was in relation to, but it was in describing the courting process of plural marriage. Then when he is talking about marriage, he describes his wives as a treasure. So clearly he has one wife right now that he views as his treasure. He says that their covenant is sacred. This dude does not seem like he wants to take another wife to me.
Right. And that's the thing too, is that I think that he has to answer for his own conscience. And it's having a second and third, fourth wife on the surface, that sounds cool, but it would have created all kinds of problems. And if anything, his relationship with his current wife would have been explained more by what Cody had said later. Like, you don't want to sit there and be really in love with one woman and then go spend your time, and spread your seed to a bunch of women that you're kind of, you're lukewarm about. You could take it or leave it, but this other woman, you really love her. Like, you're building in a sister-wife relationship where you already have your favorite wife, and I don't think that it would have been good for anybody. And the wife didn't seem like she wasn't with it either. She was trying to put on a strong face, but she wasn't giving me
exactly. No, what I thought was most telling, I think it was Mary asked, if you didn't have to do this, would you? Andy immediately says no.
Right.
And
right.
Mary says, I don't think I would either.
Hey.
If your religion goes against what you internally feel is right and wrong, you shouldn't be a part of that religion. I don't know.
Maybe it's not for you.
Maybe that's not for you.
Right. And that's kind of a weird thing too, because it adds a pressing question in the fact that Cody and them have always said that the principle was something that you could or could not do. It was kind of up to you, as your choice, whether you pursued it or not.
Right.
But he was making it sound like it wasn't a choice. Like it's not something that you could decide to do, because clearly he's deciding not to do it. He doesn't want to do it, but he feels like
he's been putting it off for as long as possible. And people are like, come on, Andy, it's time.
What's taking you so long with all these young tenderonis walking around? Like, come on, man.
He is very aware of the perception, especially of men in polygamy. And he does not want to be perceived as a creep.
Mm-hmm.
He's talking to Cody like off to the side, and he's like, I'm not gonna go for an 18-year-old. I want to date a woman that has kids because, first, like, women, he said something like, first marriages are for people with no kids or something, and neither of us, it would make sense that it wouldn't be either of our first marriages or something like that. And I was like, okay, this guy is thinking about the optics, and I can appreciate that.
And because it becomes complicated, because too, like he's bringing in women with children, but he's not including the other parent. So I'm not sure how that would work. And then
Cody's gonna be like, well, let me show you how to get rid of
right
of an ex-husband.
Show you how to drop wives.
Yeah.
But it's just like, even the way he described it, like, it's something that clearly he's not about. It's not something that's for him. He's not excited about it. And if your heart isn't in it, it's definitely something that you shouldn't pursue. Marriage, pregnancies, things like that are something that you shouldn't do. If you kind of have a question of whether you could or you couldn't, or Monday you can and Sunday you can't, then it's something you shouldn't do. You know what I mean? And I mean that, because I think even he realized that if he tried to do a marriage, it was going to ruin everybody's life. And that's why it took him so long, I
would love an update on Andy and Nicole. Like, I'm positive they did not pursue polygamy, but I would love to, where are they now with them? Because, okay, Andy and Nicole have 6 kids. This is not uncommon, we learn in the AUB. Mary's parents had 6 kids when they decided to enter polygamy. Cody's parents had 10 kids. That is wild to me, that you could have, it seems like, and I don't want to like get too controversial, but it seems like some dudes who just want to dip out on their family. And instead of doing that, they just like take another wife and try to
dress it up.
They try to put lipstick on it and make it something it's not.
Oh, we have a commitment. This is serious. Like, what?
Because we know that Cody's dad dipped out on his mom. We know that Cody dipped out on the OG3. I'm thinking probably Mary's dad dipped out on her mom. I don't know. But that
Christine's
seems to be
dad.
What?
Christine's dad did the same thing.
Right.
So you got a point. There's a point there.
Like, I mean, I'm watching Presumed Innocent right now. It's on Apple Plus. So, oh my God, it's so good. I have 2 more episodes. So no spoilers, but because the whole season's already out. But it's Jake Gyllenhaal, and he's a total like asshole. Like he's cheating on his wife. And he has like kids, but he doesn't want to lose his family, but he also is like stalking his this woman. And I don't want to give away the story, but like he wants to have his cake and eat it too. And it's like, you're just an asshole, my dude.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I'm like screaming at the TV last night. Jake Gyllenhaal's wife has this opportunity in like over the course of like 2 episodes to basically get like a revenge hookup going. And I was rooting for that so hard. I was like, I want her to screw this bartender so bad, right?
Right.
Anyways, we digress. But it's like, if you people can and I know we have some people that join us in the chat that that are polyamorous or who are non-ethically non-monogamous, which is different than this fundamental polygamy that we're discussing. So what is mind-boggling to me is that it seems like one relationship isn't working, but you're too chicken shit to cut it off. And we know Cody is top tier chicken shit.
Right. And that's the whole point too, is that with Jeff, I think his name is, with Jeff, his relationship is working. And you love and you care about Andy. Yeah, Andy. Yeah. I'm sorry.
He could be a Jeff though. He looks like a Jeff.
Andy Jeff. Jadandy. He's Jadandy now. Yeah. But with Andy, like his relationship is working. And your heart isn't in laying with and being with another woman. You don't feel the need to go out and pursue a whole bunch of other women. You know, so that's where you have to kind of spine up and take a stand where it is you stand at and what's going to make your life better. You going out getting an additional wife, is that going to make your life better? You having additional children outside your marriage, is that going to make your life better? And if it's not, then don't do it, regardless of what people at your church say. Because at the end of the day, they're not going to have to live your life and take care of them kids and that other woman. You have to do that, you know? Right. So because the way they described it and the way even the wife had said, you know, I like having my husband in my bed at night and knowing where he is and what he's doing. I like that companionship, that unity that we have as a family. And she would have to give that up because that other woman that he brings into the family, she's deserving of that attention, time, and affection just as much as you are, because that's the nature of your relationship. Yeah. And if you're not willing to share, then don't share, you know?
I am not willing to share my husband. And so, yeah, I'll share other things, but yeah, just, I don't know. Even when I'm mad at him, like we still like, both of us are so stubborn that neither one of us will ever go sleep on a couch. We have like a split king, so we will just like adjust the bed a little bit, so like we're kind of off center from each other, and then it's like that's how we're like, I'll stick it to you, but like this is my bed. I am not sleeping on the
Right. Yeah, I don't sleep downstairs.
That's how both of us are feeling that way.
I pay for the whole house, but I'm not sleeping in none of the other rooms.
We both contributed to this bed. Neither one of us are taking the L here.
Like, I'm not your roommate, so
exactly.
I'm not doing that. No, I appreciate that. And then, like I said, it's that it's the loss of companionship, the loss of intimacy that they would have. Like, because and even with the way that Robin pursues the relationship, because you have to work those things out too. But the way Robin pursues the relationships, there would be a whole side of your husband or your partner that you have no idea about. He's living a whole separate life with a whole separate person that you have no idea what's going on with him and how he's doing and what he's doing and who he's doing. Like it's hard. Like it's a hard thing.
Mm-hmm. Andy says a couple things that I'm like, ooh. He goes, you guys used to live all together in Lehigh. Now you're all separated. It's almost like a divorce, and the wives have shared custody of Cody. This made the wives go, oh my God. Like Christine was like, my jaw was on the floor. I was like, but is he wrong though? Is he wrong though?
Right. Is it the accurate description that has you upset, or the fact that you didn't realize that it was so accurate? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are you mad about exactly? Because he's telling the truth?
Yep. And then what was the other thing he said? Hold on, let me find it in my notes. Oh, he was saying when you take another wife, you're dividing your time.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, so is love really multiplied? Because it
Right.
doesn't really seem that way.
Yeah. Well, your love could be multiplied, but the clock and the time isn't. So
Yeah. He says you cut your family in half.
right. Yeah, they were clutching their pearls at that too, which didn't
Yeah.
make sense because they literally, especially Christine, you literally complain about Cody not spending enough time with you.
Mhm.
Like you literally complain about that.
Yeah.
Because you know why you complain about it, rightly so, is because he is splitting his time and you are getting the short end of the stick and you
Mhm.
aren't seeing him as much as you want to or should,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
And he was killing him with that sandwich. Like, because I noticed you talking about he's standing there holding a hamburger, asking these questions and making these comments and observations, taking
Yeah.
shots. And I'm like, he's killing them in the barbecue with that damn sandwich.
Like he clearly was brought out so that the Browns could like reaffirm their faith publicly. And he is just telling us all the reasons why sounds like a really bad idea. Like, why would anyone want to live this way?
Well, and to be honest with you, that very well may be why he was only on the show once.
Yeah,
You know?
true. So okay, we had Andy and Mary tell us that they would not live this lifestyle if they were not part of this church. That is a huge red flag for me. But then 2 times in this episode, Cody references his marriages being about love. In response to them saying that, Cody said, if I would do it all over again because I got married for love every time. And we're in season 3 at this point. Like, and he's still trying to tell us that he loved all of his wives, even Christine.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the skeptical part of me, Doc James, the skeptical part of me would say that he very well may say that because his check is dependent on it. Like the whole facade he had, because he also said that he spends equal time at each one of the wives' house, which wasn't true. You know, he also said that, you know, he spends time with all the kids and he helped to raise the kids, and come to find out that you had Aspen tucking kids in, even though they were living in the Lehigh house all together. He wouldn't even go downstairs to check on his kids. We're not even going to say Christine's kids. He wouldn't go downstairs to check on his kids. So, you know, I don't know what to believe, Mr. Cody Brown.
And I'm sorry. I realized, like, maybe technically, philosophically, I don't know, maybe it's not the other wife's responsibility, but if you are in a domicile with unattended minors and you're not like making sure they're okay, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like,
Right.
You're kidding me?
Right. Who does that? Like, well,
like, if I know that there are like 5-year-olds that like are, you know, YOLOing it, like I can't, I'm not gonna be able to like snuggle up with Cody and watch a movie.
Right.
I'm gonna need to know that that these kids are okay. So I'm side-eyeing Janelle and Mary there too.
Right.
Like,
Well, because even then, like, I'm gonna keep it all the way a stack. One, like I said, if you're Janelle, Mary, and you're watching this man who, you know, your husband, father, your kids, you booed up with him, and he has his kids downstairs unattended, and he's okay with it, you should be looking at him with the side eye. If you don't even care about the fact that, you know, these are Christine's kids and I don't really give a damn, the fact that you guys all live in the same house, and if something were to happen to those kids, CPS is coming and they're looking at the whole damn house, and they're going to be asking you too why you were sitting upstairs while the kids were downstairs playing matches and oven. And, you know, so you have to ask that question. Third thing, if I know that I'm actively breaking the damn law, I know I'm breaking the law. I'm not trying to put myself in a position where I have contact with the police unnecessarily. So
Yeah.
again, I would shake my happy ass downstairs to make sure these kids are okay.
Point.
You know what I mean?
taken.
Yeah.
Good point. Because we know that Aspen, who was 10, was the one in charge. So everybody was younger than 10.
Right.
That is not ethical. That is not legal. That is
Right.
Oh my
People go to
God.
jail.
Oh yeah.
Like, this is not Home Alone. And these kids are not Macaulay
know.
Culkin.
It's like they took that way too seriously. They're like, oh, Cody's like, I saw Home Alone. My kids can handle this.
That little Macaulay kid was great with the burglars.
Yeah.
Surely they can open up and fry some spam.
Kevin McAllister ain't got nothing on Gwen. Like,
Right.
Gwen could booby trap this whole place in 2 seconds. Like,
Right.
no problem.
That's why I just did like, from that point, I just don't get it. Like I said, and that's not even that even doesn't even look at the fact that, like you said, you guys are all supposed to be sister wives, one family under one roof, and you're supposed to be their mom too, and you're not looking out for them. So, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, ultimately, like, Cody, these are your kids. And it wasn't like Christine was leaving to go like to bingo. She was leaving to go work a night job. Like, it wasn't so she could go do a hobby or something. Right. So it was like nobody could like throw her a bone. Seriously.
Right. And then, like you said, it's not like she's at the local bar doing karaoke. She's out working.
Yeah.
And she's working. And part of the reason why she's working is because you guys don't make enough that she could just sit at home. And then, like you said, she's working a night job. So let's pretend like she's doing a 9 to 5 or even a 10 to 7 or whatever, where she goes in at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock when her kids are supposed to be asleep. That means that the kid, well, maybe she was going in early because she needed them to put them to bed. But if she's going in and she's working overnight and you're not going down to check on them, that means that if something were to happen, you wouldn't realize that something happened until the next day when Christine came in and found somebody, which is insane to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And imagine being like, you were next door, like asleep in the next, like, that's so gross.
Yeah. Or you're too lazy to get off your ass and, because the movie or TV show you're watching is too good. You can't go check on your children. Like, and especially the way stuff works out, it won't even be like an instantaneous thing. Like, boom, bop, kid gone. They'd be, oh, well, we did an autopsy and it turns out they were on that floor waiting and crying for help for 7 hours. You're going to jail. Like, you're going to prison. Like it's the stupidest thing. It's the dumbest reason in the world to go to prison.
I know. It kind of reminds me of those like kids left in like hot car stories where it's like, how long were they suffering until they finally mercifully, passed away?
Right.
And it's like, anyway, I could go off on like a whole tangent that we don't have time for.
Well, because even then, one question that everybody asks, anytime you open up the newspaper or you sit on the front page, the one question everybody asks initially is, what was so damn important? Like, what was so important that you had to leave your kid in the car and you went in the store for 2 hours or 3 hours? What was so important that you couldn't leave the walk down the steps or down the hallway to check on your kids to make sure they were okay? Because I've always taken a position that things aren't like, oh, well, James, nothing happened. It's not a big deal. Things are never a big deal until they're a damn big deal. It's not a big deal until something happens. Then everybody going to criticize every little thing you did that night. So.
Yep. Yeah. So we get this kind of tangent off to the side where we start talking about Warren Jeffs and the FLDS and how the AUB is just so different than the FLDS. And I'm like, but are you though? Because Cody, in the book, you kind of courted a minor. Like, so how different are you really?
Right. Well, he didn't marry her, so it didn't count.
Right. And she was like almost 18. So,
She was
this
an
is
old
like
lady.
nobody batted an eye when Madison married Caleb.
Caleb,
And
right.
we all love them together, but that was weird. Made me
Yeah.
uncomfy. So
Yeah.
I will die on that hill.
Right. Well, because it's easy to overlook because they are a cute couple, and I do think that Madison is Caleb's person and Caleb is Madison's person. But the way they came together, yeah, it would have gave me pause. It would have gave me pause.
But it didn't give everyone was like, and what's so funny is rewatching like those episodes. These parents are over the moon about Madison and Caleb. And then Mackenzie comes along, who is like 5 minutes younger than Madison. I don't know. She's like 8 months younger than Madison. And she's also wanting to get married. And then they are like, no, you're too young. You're too like spontaneous. Like, it's a completely different reaction. It's so sad.
Like, oh, hell no. Yeah.
Yeah. But so one of the things that I did agree with, well, actually, I agreed with Andy on a lot during this episode. One of the things, though, is he was talking about how when he was growing up, they had to hide everything. He couldn't say like who his family was. And that's been a big theme on this show, is part of what drove the Browns to do this show is so that all of the siblings can claim each other as siblings and all of the kids can claim all of the parents and vice versa. And there didn't have to be this secrecy. And so that's great. He was saying that that's part of what people like Warren Jeffs and the FLDS, they thrive off of everything being kind of under the cloak of darkness, because that attracts, I think he says, like, that attracts scum. Yeah. And I don't disagree. Like, if you fully, like, I don't agree with this as a lifestyle, but if it is, because I don't think that this is healthy, but there's a lot of people that enter into unhealthy marriages every day, right? Like, you can't just illegal outlaw toxic marriages. You wish you could. So if everyone's a consenting adult, like truly a consenting adult, I have no problem with it being legalized. And then you open up avenues for these women, because look at what we have with Janelle and Mary right now. They're relying on Cody's good graces if they ever want to have a prayer at recouping. Luckily, they do have this show with a decade of footage with Cody purporting to be married to them. But if they didn't, like, they would have no recourse to try to recoup any of their losses.
Right. And I think that's one of the struggles, I think, for polygamy, especially when you start talking about legalization, is how do you come to equitable disbursement if the union dissolves? So how do you get to a point where you say, we're going to get rid of you shocked me a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know how I did that. Hold on.
Oh, it's from the bottom.
Do we like that or do we like that? I don't know.
It's up to the people. It's up to the people. But yeah, the only issue I have is that, one, I do want there to be, if everybody consents, and by consent I mean an informed consent position where you understand exactly what it is you're getting involved with, you understand what exactly the outcomes are, and you also understand what you're giving up. So currently, if you get involved with this type of relationship, if that person is married and you break up with that person, or you want to leave, or that other person wants to leave your husband or your boyfriend/husband, person you're not married to, your unmarried partner, if his wife wants to leave, she can take half of whatever he has, which is half of what you have. So, and there's nothing you can do about it. Also, if you decide to leave, you typically don't have any recourse to be able to walk away with anything that is in his name or in his wife's name, even though you may have helped to contribute to it, helped to build it up, or whatever the case may be. And I think that that's the part of polygamy. If they're serious about trying to legalize it, it's that hurdle that they have to cover. But unfortunately, because it's a male-dominated, patriarchally driven institution, most of the men aren't trying to figure out how they would be on the hook for alimony, or be on the hook for making payments, or be on the hook for dividing any of their real property. And I think that that's where a lot of it falls to the, when they say they want to legalize it, they're just basically saying, I want to be able to do what I want to do. And if I decide I don't want to do it anymore, I want to still have the right, or retain the right, to be able to screw my partners over. And so I think that that's part of the struggle.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. Like, if you know, as far as like the bourgeois, they have kids with, you can have kids with whoever you want to have kids with. You can pair however you want to, as long as you have consent to do it, and as long as everybody is old enough to participate.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta be this big to ride this ride. That's all.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they really, you know, Cody and Andy, they really focus on that in this episode, like no minors. Like,
Right. Well, because that too, like the weirdest thing to me, because even we'll talk about it next week. One of the weirdest things, or cringe, I won't even say weird, it's cringy to me. One of the cringe things for me is the fact that the sister wives, the Brown family, always tries to hold up Warren Jeffs as the reason why everybody thinks that polygamy is this certain thing. Like he got busted a little bit after Sister Wives started. He was arrested.
it was like right around the same time.
Right. So they kind of piggybacked on each other. People had negative feelings about polygamy, not because of Warren Jeffs, but because of the LeBarons, because of the Kingston group, because there's a lot of folks, hell, some of the AUB people, because Kristen Decker talks about, like in her book, 50 Years of Polygamy, Big Secrets and Lies?
Yeah.
She talks about the abuses that occurred in the AUB that everybody on the Sister Wives panel pretends like, I don't know nothing about none of this stuff with Warren Jeffs, because we don't have that. You guys have it in your religion too, and it's in your communities too. And so you're not doing yourselves any favors by pretending that it didn't happen and it wasn't going on. You know what I mean?
Just because they think like, oh, we don't wear the prairie dresses. So we're like, we're not like regular fundamentalists. We're cool fundamentalists. But it's like, again, you can dress it up, but it's still the same thing, right?
Right. It is what it is. Like, you know what I mean? And I don't care what your outfit is. Like, I don't care about costumes. Like, you can cosplay if you want to cosplay like Little House on the Prairie, that's your business. But what you don't get to do is start taking advantage of children, have child brides, and start forcing yourself on people who aren't consenting. And that's the big thing. Because if you're a child, you can't consent by definition.
And if we're going to talk about consent, do I think Nicole really wants to do this?
Right.
No.
Yeah. Not even a little bit.
And if Mary is saying that she absolutely would not live plural marriage if it wasn't for religion, then I question the consent.
Right. And that's, you know, the one of the craziest things actually came up from Jenny from Senior Perspective. She mentioned it. One of the craziest things that I never really considered was, throughout this time, all the way up until the time that Mary was divorced, she always identified as Cody's wife. Even if they were having struggles, even when Robin came into the family, she always could hold on to that chip that she was in fact Cody's real wife, because she was the one who married him. She's the one, even though, you know, before Robin, she had the real wedding, you know, she had the big celebration. She had the paperwork that said that she's Cody's wife. And then to lose that identity is such a big thing. And I think that we see that trail now, because I don't think that Mary, you know, as much as she talks about polygamy, I don't think Mary ever really wanted polygamy. You know what I mean?
No,
like, she loved Cody and she wanted Cody for herself, but she felt like this is something she had to do. And by doing it, she technically ruined her marriage. So
it's interesting that you bring that up, because I noticed, like, towards the end of the episode, I think Mary asks she asks the couple, like, why plural marriage now? And Nicole kind of just jumps in to the conversation and gives us the kind of propaganda answer that we're used to. Like, I need this. I need a sister wife. Like, my life just, it's so crazy. I just need, more. He needs to take another wife to take stuff off my plate. And so Mary asks her to name some benefits of plural marriage, and she can't name any.
Right. Because even that, like, half
Maybe
the time,
aren't any. I don't know.
Right. Because even then, like, half the time, even on Seeking Sister Wives to this show, in this particular instance, half the time, the person that they're describing isn't a sister wife. Lady, you're talking about a friend. Okay, I want somebody to hang out with. That's a friend. A friend don't have to screw your husband.
No.
Like, you can just hang out. Two women can hang out, go do whatever they do, hit the bars, hit the clubs, and come home, have a great time, and they just go their separate ways, and each of them go home to their man. It's fine, man, woman, whatever.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Top drawer treasure. But the whole thing is, even with I need some help because things are getting kind of hectic. Lady, that's called a nanny. Either a nanny or a maid.
Or, like, do you have like, what does your support system look like? Like, do you have parents? Do you have siblings? Do you have that could babysit? You're part of a church. Are there other people in your church that could, like, watch your kids from time to time? Do they have to then bone your husband?
Right.
Is that the prerequisite to getting a babysitter in the AUB? Is that just like how it goes?
Right. Or, instead of doing like the whole, you got to give them your husband, you can take more of the traditional, maybe mainstream route by giving them these little pieces of paper that they call money. You can do that. Right. Oh, no.
You are blowing my mind, James.
Right. That's of the devil.
What? But then how am I going to acquire my artwork?
Right. Exactly. Who am I sending to work to make money for me?
I know.
Yeah, I saw your video too, that $140,000 tab. Oh, woo.
People, I mean, so I'm seeing all these posts. I'm on Reddit. I'm in my own Facebook group. People keep posting, and I'm like, I'm going to start adding this up.
Right.
So I literally wrote everything down on a piece of paper. I'm like, shit. I'm to like 100. I almost got to $150,000. It was like $148,000. And there was stuff that I didn't get the price of, because some of this stuff was like price upon request. And that we didn't see everything because they had a lot of stuff packed away.
Right. And that's what I was about to say. Some of the real stuff probably is in a storage bin somewhere.
Yeah, because she had these like big crystals that were like, I remember on the floor. Mm-hmm. And I remember people saying that those were worth thousands. Like, literally, I have this huge, like, I don't know. It's like it's on this wall in my living room, and it's like a boat. And we got it from Ashley Furniture for like $150. I think that's the most expensive piece of decor in my house. I am a fashionista. Like, when I'm seeing these bear figurines that are going for like thousands of dollars, I'm like, on what planet?
So you got that $150 crystal, like, yeah, we doing it.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah,
but I love me a handbag, so like I will spend a couple grand on a bag, and a lot of people would be like, that's crazy. So I can understand, like, I'm not trying to necessarily shit all over Robin and Cody's purchasing choices, but the thing is that they made those purchases at the expense of 18 other people, however many other people.
Right. Well, I mean, to be honest, like, the whole thing is, I might have to make a video because it's just crazy to me.
Yeah.
Like, just the idea. It's like watching them go through money. And this is what actually I released a video yesterday or today, one of the two. But this actually reminds me of the thing that everybody, because even I'm like, go get a lawyer, go get an accountant. The truth of the matter is that these folks spend money like drunken sailors on a weekend pass. Like they're blowing through money. So even if you take them to court, there's a possibility you might take them to court and find out they have jack shit in the bank. Like they've blown through everything because, like you said, you guys, like it's one thing you buy a $5,000 handbag and you're not looking to sell that handbag. You're going to keep that handbag. I have a feeling like they think that they can do something with this art. Unless you're an art dealer or a jeweler, having a bunch of like if I go out and buy 50 Rolexes, I'm gonna lose money on them Rolexes. I lost money on them. You get art, you gotta find somebody to buy it. Like just because you spent you know, if you the dumbass and spent $3,000 on a painting.
Yeah. And I feel bad because I don't want to like knock these artists for like to say their work is not nice or anything, but like, would you fill your entire house with Picasso? Like, or you know, like, I don't know.
Well, because even then, you got to be in that world. Like this isn't a place for pedestrians. Like you have to be in the art world. Like you have to know not only what's selling, but some got blocked.
No, there's a bot. I think it's in your chat.
Oh,
that they're trying to.
What's
sorry,
the bot?
I was seeing if I could take it.
Oh,
they're promoting Kamala Harris. Like,
yeah,
there are definitely worse bots out there. But
yeah, I had a.
It keeps going over and over and over again.
Yeah,
So.
I'm gonna get her.
Yeah,
I got you.
Yeah,
I had a bot before that was dropping on my Facebook page. It was doing like adult pages. Like I'm blocking them. I'm calling Facebook. I'm like, what are you guys doing? You falling asleep at the switch. I block them and you got like it's not getting blocked. What's going on?
I don't know how it happens, but when I post a video, my first like 5 comments, and it's within like the first like 30 seconds. So it's like you obviously didn't even watch my video. This was a great video. How do you come up with your concepts? And it's the profile pictures on all of them are like crotches or boobs or whatever.
Oh,
and
wow.
it's like, seriously? delete.
Like, oh my God, you trying to get me in trouble.
I know.
YouTube don't like this kind of stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure this out. I gotta get my oh, here we go.
Well, you're looking into that. We'll just wrap up this episode with Cody, who invokes the L word again because he says, you know, I can't intellectualize or quantify how I love my wives. That's what he says. And I feel like you can now.
Right. I think I got him. But yeah, you know what? I think it's a weird place where you say, like, I can't quantify my love and I have them and they're amazing. And what are you gonna do tonight, Cody? I'm gonna well, I spent last night with Robin and I'm gonna go back over to that house like you just did.
Yeah. I remember in, was it season 18 or season 17 when he reveals like, you know, Christine was always bitching about how I was never at her house. So I did this experiment. I spent every day there for a month. And it's like, why do you talk about that like it was a sacrifice when she's your wife? You know where my husband has spent every day for the last month? At my house. Like, that's pretty common.
Right. I just wanted to see if she would complain. And well, did she complain?
Yeah. Because you were probably on your phone texting Robin the whole time. That's literally she's giving birth and Cody's there like,
yeah, I'm gonna be over to get them sweet lips, get them ready, you know.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see that, Cody. And that was actually terrible. Like that was just a bad look. That thing was a bad look all the way around.
Yeah. All right, you guys, let's transition into Forbidden Love. We are T-1 episode out from the finale, and lots of storylines. It was like, oh my goodness. Like,
Yeah.
let's start off with Elmer and Lindsay, because I jotted down the couples before I started watching the episode, so I just kind of like filled in my bullet points
Okay.
accordingly. So they were the first couple that I wrote down. Wheels or heels, it's time for their gender reveal party. I personally, and I even wrote this down, but then I deleted it. I wrote gender reveal parties are so stupid. But then Elmer said that he like got a little misty-eyed because he said that he's never celebrated anything. Like,
right.
And so I was like, oh shit, I feel like an asshole. So I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Elmer. You have that gender reveal party.
Well, it's a lot. Like the gender reveal parties, they're new. They're fairly new.
It's a lot of money to spend on something that could be a text message.
Right. You know, oh yeah, come out. Well, because that would be like something that you would send out for the baby shower. At least that's how we used to do it back in the olden days. You'll just send out the message like, I'm having a boy. So if you're gonna go buy anything, just Well,
if I'm thinking, so I was pregnant at my wedding, so everything was kind of in quick succession. So I had my wedding, then I had my baby shower. Like, if I had in between that a gender reveal, like my husband and my parents, whoever's funding this would have been like, no.
Right.
Like, that's too many parties.
Right.
All my friends and family would be like, we're not coming to all of this. Like, text me.
Right. I got to bring a present to that too. Like,
exactly. Another gift giving occasion. Are you kidding me?
I got kids too. Well, yes. And that's kind of the part of it too that that's a little, for me, just gives me pause, because it depends on where you are financially. If you got it, you got it. But if you are in a situation where you're trying to put it together, particularly if you're a young family and you're just starting out, then it doesn't make sense to me to have that one more party, that one more thing, especially being as though you're about to endeavor on one of the most expensive things that you could possibly do, which is having a child.
Yeah.
So, babies are money. Like, in case you didn't know, they're lovely, they smell so good, but babies are expensive. You know what I mean?
The best part of the baby shower is everyone bringing like a pack of diapers, because then you have like a closet full of diapers for like a year, and it's the best.
Right, and you still running through them, like
Oh yeah, but what's nice is people buy it for all different sizes, so it'll be like, oh my gosh, like he's too small for the twos now. It's like, oh, I got threes. I got threes.
Or you run out of twos, you run out of them ones, be like, give me some of them twos, they'll work.
Yeah, like I guess we're moving up early.
Yeah. Just go have to go a little tight on you, buddy.
Yeah. Lindsay tells us that things are going better with Elmer. He's no longer not brushing his teeth without a reminder, or not needing a reminder to brush his teeth. And I was like, seriously? Like, seriously? And the porn blockers are working.
Yeah, because that's always what you need. Like the fact that he can't control himself.
In the same way that I feel like Cody never shies away from an opportunity to just humiliate Christine, like on the show. I feel this like Lindsay is like the same way about Elmer. It's like, I feel like she's constantly exposing really embarrassing things that we don't have to know about unless you told us, right? Like, we never needed to know about the nacho story, but now it's like one of like the most popular things that ever happened in Sister Wives.
Yeah, that shit is canon.
No one ever needed to tell us that.
Right, it's canon. Like, so
exactly.
That's one of the things
and now
talk
it's
about.
Like, did we need to know that Elmer needs a constant reminder to brush his teeth?
Right. Or even like because there's the parentification where you're always infantilizing your partner.
Mm-hmm.
And by doing that, you don't make him feel like he's a whole of your relationship. So it's no wonder, like if at some point, like he's starting to express himself through like adult materials, there's a possibility he may not just be doing it because it's interesting to look at and it's fun to do what you do, but he might be into it because that's the one place and the one experience that he can have where he's in control of said experience. Like, because when he's with her, he has zero control. He has zero say because she's standing there like his mom telling him to brush his teeth, pull up your pants, fix your collar, straighten up, pick up after yourself. You know, like, so at what point does he feel like an actual, you know, a dude, like a guy, a man, you know, a whole person, a grown up?
Yeah.
So,
it's just so, it's so bizarre to me.
right.
It's a girl. Also, while most of Elmer's family doesn't show up, Wilma, his cousin, does. He brings these Amish dolls, and I'm just gonna say I was so unsettled by them. It's like something from a horror movie, and I feel really bad saying that because these are made with care in a type of way that still adheres to someone's religion. So I feel like I am an asshole for saying that, but I found them deeply unsettling. So
well, you know what? It's crazy. I've seen them. Like, I've seen them before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've seen those dolls. And actually, we had, because we didn't live that far from the Amish country when I was growing up. It was about an hour away, in fairness, but
That's
you could go
close.
down and see them. And in fact, they had like a whole smorgasbord place we used to go to, and it was like a day. And we had dolls and things that they would make, like wooden dolls that they would make, and they didn't have faces either. So I kind of grew up with that, so I'm a little more used to it. And I get where they're coming from, because I guess to them it would be creepy to have a doll with a face on it. You know what I mean?
And how many horror movies are made about like dolls that come to life? So
Right.
they're definitely not the creepiest dolls out there. There's some like, oh my gosh, have you heard of Reborn dolls?
Reborn, no.
Okay. And I feel really bad, like being so disturbed by it, because I believe that the way that Reborn dolls are very lifelike. Like, they look very human. And if I'm correct, I believe that the way that they were started was almost as like therapy for people that have lost kids. So like the intent is noble. But I have seen so many TikToks and so many reels with these Reborn dolls, and it's like
yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not a big fan of like trying to recreate stuff.
Yeah, they're like the weight of a newborn. They have like lifelike hair. Their features. It's almost like you've seen like the wax figurines that look so realistic. It's like they're incredibly realistic. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm looking at them now. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Ooh. Yeah, that's bump that. Look at that. Yeah, we're not doing that.
I feel so horrible being uncomfortable. I feel uncomfortable about them because I do believe that they offer a comfort, but not for me. So
that would make me feel comfortable.
Yeah,
because like you said, they make horror movies about that kind of stuff, and I can see I buy one of them things and I sit it on the couch, and then I leave the room and come back and the damn thing is sitting in the chair. Like, nah, I'm not doing that. Like, then I gotta get my house away.
Really, I always found like super creepy were Furbies. And now that like things that were toys that I always found like real creepy. Furbies.
They can talk to you.
They look like those Gremlins, which was I saw that movie when I was like a kid because my dad was watching it one day, and I saw that, and then Furbies are like the hot toy that Christmas, and I'm like, absolutely not.
Right. Like a little pink gremlin, you know.
Yeah. Deborah, thank you. Some people don't like clowns. It's okay to not be okay with everything.
Yeah.
Thank you, Deborah.
That's awesome.
But Elmer and Lindsay, it's about to pop off because cut to next week, their baby's like 3 months old. They've broken up, and now Elmer is with like another woman.
Right. Well, I mean, like
This
I
would be
said,
like 3 seasons worth of content. They were on Sister Wives.
well, but if they were on Sister Wives, we wouldn't see it in, that kid be 5 or 6 years old, getting ready to, going to school, and we still be watching Get Born. So
yeah.
But yeah, I think that the whole way they're talking about like next week, and we'll obviously talk about it next week, but with Elmer like kind of stepping out and doing his own thing again, if she's not really taking him serious as a partner, because everything that she says, these are all things you should have found out before you married him, before you started having kids with him. If you don't like the fact that your man don't like brushing his teeth and he got the yuck mouth, then you don't marry this dude. You know what I mean? Like
how do you find that attractive, right?
Right.
Like different strokes for different folks, but like basic hygiene being an issue is like kind of
yeah, right.
I don't know.
Yeah. Like you're teaching him stuff. Like, what are you teaching him?
And then
he's not a kid.
That kind of creeps me out because word on the street is that they've been together for like 6-something years. And if you do the math, that makes him not quite 18 when they get together. Right. And then the story of them getting together is like, what was he like doing work at her house? And she was like, do you want to come and sit upstairs with me or something? Like it was totally creepy. Like, Lindsay, are you just a creep?
Right, right. Well, because again, I just got the feeling like, especially with Lindsay, that she was the kind of woman who she was ready to have a baby. She couldn't find a guy to have a baby with. So she pursued Elmer, and kind of corralled him, did the thing to him,
Yeah.
Worked that magic. And then all of a sudden he's hooked in, and now he's leaving his faith, his religion, his family, so he could stay with her so that he can impregnate her. And now that she has the baby, mission accomplished, assignment complete, she can put him out and she can put him on his way. So I don't know if that relationship was ever designed to last or built to last.
Yeah.
So which is a shame,
Yeah. Let's talk about Chris and Lensa because woo! We got something that is like my favorite. We got on-screen text, like, ooh, producers were shocked when they arrived. But anyway, we open up our scene with these lovebirds. Chris is about to move to Michigan. So he's driving over to mom and dad's house. He's going to say bye to his parents, but it's more like he's going to say, hi, mom and dad, I'm moving. Oh yeah. And I'm going to convert. Bye.
Right.
And his parents are like, whoa, what?
I knew you were moving.
Yeah.
Well,
George is not happy about this. He's real emotional.
Right. It's hurt. But the whole thing with George, I gotta tell you, it's the funny, like I'm not gonna lie, it kind of tickled me a little bit. Because as soon as he said, yeah, I'm going to move and I'm going to become a Muslim, the first thing George said out of his mouth was, well, how do you change who you are fundamentally for somebody? Like, if you believe in something, that's what you've been trying to do to this woman this whole time. This whole time, she grew up Muslim. She got 2 kids from arranged marriages from her faith. And she lived her whole life like this. And you've been telling her the whole time that she needs to change. Now all of a sudden your son changes and is, oh, I can't believe you did this.
Rules for thee, but not for me, or whatever. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I have a quote from him. Some things you don't let anybody change about you.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, I come over with some oils, unless they show up to the house with some oils. Which sounds janky as hell anyway. A man showed up to an unmarried woman's house with some oils. Like, come on, man. What are we doing?
My next 2 notes are George basically tells Chris he's probably going to hell. And then I wrote, this honestly went better than I expected.
Right.
I just realized my notes went in that order and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, right. Well, because it was, you know what, the fact that he didn't start crying, the mom didn't bust out crying and run off, I was like, okay, they're together, you know.
It seemed like more of a conversation than I expected to have happen. Like they honestly, George seemed more hung up on the fact that he hadn't met her parents.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I
Then,
think that he was kind of holding on to anything, though.
yeah, true. Yeah.
Because he knew
And
that was a weakness.
I was tickled by my own notes. I was like, that was funny.
Yeah, right.
But then, oh my gosh. So we're in the U-Haul, drive. Hey babe, I'm 5 hours away. We show up and Lensa's okay. If she is 100 in the end scene, she's about 75 when we meet up with her in Michigan because she just talked to her parents and it did not go well. They were not excited about the possibility, the prospect of Chris. And she stood up to her parents. She was like, no, like, this is who I want to be with. And she was like, that was a really big deal because I've never stood up to my parents like that before. I always have gone with who they, you know, she was in 2 arranged marriages. So this is a big deal. And then, oh my God. Cut to 12 hours later.
Right.
Like the SpongeBob music sometime later. Producers arrived at the apartment to find Chris and Lensa arguing. Apparently, Chris was texting another woman, and Lensa is a 10. She is like, fuck you.
Right, yeah. She was hot. And she didn't give him room to explain it. I saw what you did. I saw everything, mother.
She called him a thought.
Right. And the craziest thing was, like, the whole introduction to Lensa was, I'm this sweet Muslim girl and I believe in my faith. But by the time they get to this episode, she like, look at you so-and-so, Mickey Ficky mother, what the hell, mama, racka-mucka-lacka. And she's cussing this dude out like a sailor. Like, she's not
in
missing
the hallway of this apartment going with like producers, other residents, I'm sure.
Yeah, she could give a damn. She was fresh out to give a damn. And she was reading this dude the riot act. Like, she was going in. Like, she was going in.
Lensa lost her mind. That religion went right out the window.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I was like, dude, you just drove. I mean, how long is the drive from where they were in Cincinnati to Michigan?
Yeah. He said it was 5 hours, right?
Yeah, you drove
8 hours.
Well, no, at the time he called her, he still had 5 hours. Like, you drove all that way, moved, and you're gonna be on some bullshit.
Yeah. Well, here's the weird thing about it. It sounded like he was saying, like, he said, I was telling her, like, the woman had slid into his DMs. This is according to him, of course. Like, I don't know how much stock we can put into it. But he said, like, she slid into my DMs trying to hit him up, and he responds back, look, I have a girlfriend. And that's what Lensa saw over his shoulder. And he was even trying to show the producers, like, look, you can look at my phone. This is what was written. And she was like, I don't care. So, I don't know. Is this why? Because it also begs the question, because you hear somebody, I was married twice and it didn't work out. Is the reason it didn't work out is because you go from 0 to 60 without any real evidence and you're not listening to your partner when he's trying to explain, like, look, it's the waitress. She said hello. I said hi back. That's all it was. I wasn't trying to pick her up. No, I saw the way you was looking at it, you maniac. Who you think you are? You think you playing with me? I'm gonna go out there and key your car. Baby, I'm just trying to explain to you. I wanted a drink. You want a drink? You ask me.
That's a good point. Also, I'm just thinking he probably was texting.
He might have been. Well, because the question too is, like, you don't. And here's the weird. Like, here's my thing.
Okay.
Just because you get a message doesn't mean you have to respond to the message. Like, you don't have to respond.
Somebody, James, is like, you could just ignore it.
Right.
You don't have to be like, I have a girlfriend. You could just not respond.
Right. You don't owe her that. Like, that's the weird thing
Right.
about it. You don't owe her that. So
Right. You're not being rude. Like, I don't know. Like, do you know how many people, like, how many celebrities get followed and they get, like, their Instagram stories are responded to constantly? Do you think that they go, thank you for your input, blah, blah, blah? No, they don't care.
right. Well, because clearly not, because Cody and Robin have yet to respond to any of my videos, and I talk about their asses all the time. So
I've invited Cody to like and subscribe, and he
Right.
still hasn't.
right, and I've said that too. I've
Yeah.
gone on lives and said, look, if you disagree with anything I say, and I'll put it out now. Cody, Robin, I know you guys might be bouncing through some of these things. If you ever hear something, Christine OG3s, if I say something you disagree with, you're more than welcome to come up and hit me up, and I'll put you on. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
We
for
can talk
sure.
about it. Like,
Yeah.
no shame to my game. I'm not shy about it. If I say it, I say it with my chest. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll apologize, but I stand on business. So I'll just understand I'm coming with receipts. So
Yeah, you guys, you've given us like
right, you got
14 years
19
of
seasons of receipts plus a book. So
plus book.
right. So if you want to do that, we could do it. But I'm just saying, like, it is what it is. But with this, my man, you don't have to. And there is a point too where you can run things through the filter of, yeah, you could do this, and there's nothing wrong with it. But at some point, you might have to run it through the default filter of, if my lady finds out about this shit, it's not going to look good. And I don't want to have the argument. So I'm just not going to, I'm just not going to do it because I don't want the problem. I just don't want the problem. I want to have to deal with it. You just use a little foresight,
Yeah, absolutely.
But he definitely played us up.
Yeah. I really enjoyed Ashley and Muhammad this episode because I really enjoyed them. They went to mosque. They're talking to this other Muslim couple, and basically this older Muslim man was telling Muhammad how he's not translating things, like he's not interpreting what the Quran is saying correctly. And so it was really interesting to me that my note was, ain't that some shit when people get willy-nilly with scripture? Reminds me of Cody Brown.
right. Or you just take the part you like.
Right. Like he was like, hey, no, like obey that's not like, okay, that's what it said, but like it's not a direct translation, and it's more like listen is what, like, you're supposed to listen, and you're supposed to listen to each other. Like, she is your life partner. She's not your servant or your slave. And I was like, this is such good education for us to see on the show about like what gets misinterpreted in scripture, especially, I feel like Christianity is represented a whole bunch in mainstream media, and the Quran, I feel like not so much. And so to actually have someone who's to sit down and say, no, this is actually like what that means.
Right.
And it's not what mom is like, she's going out at night, and it's like, well, like what? The guy's like, why is that a problem?
Right. What, are you afraid of the dark, or what's what's going on with you? But I think that there's also the point too where there's a couple things. One, when you look at it to the translation portion of it, I'm a big fan of understanding where they're coming from. And what he's saying is that this is not a religion where just because you have this faith that you now have a dog. He's saying, like, this is your partner and you're supposed to respect each other. This is actually the tenet of any good leadership role. So even if you see yourself, you're the man and you're the leader of the house, being the leader does not mean you just get to tell people what to do. And I think that that's the huge switch that even Muhammad, he's still arguing like, no, he just didn't want to hurt your feelings. You're supposed to obey.
Yeah, now she's like, this just went way over You didn't retain any of this.
Right. You didn't hear nothing the man said.
I was sitting there.
Right. I was there listening to the man say that that's not what it means. He don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
But isn't that the guy you said was the expert? Yeah, he's not an expert anymore.
Not if he says stuff I don't like. Oh, forget that. Forget all that.
He don't know what he's doing.
Let's go find someone else.
Right. My brother's an expert. Yeah.
This guy wasn't saying what I wanted.
Exactly. Exactly. And here's the ironic part is that he would take the position that her family, when her family talks about the religion and the faith, they talk about the fact that he has this power over her and he can tell her what to do and she has no rights and no autonomy in this faith. That's why they're against this faith. And he sat there and tried to say, no, that's not what it's about. Islam is a beautiful religion, et cetera, and she has all kinds of freedoms. But then when rubber met the road, all of a sudden you flip the whole script and you are exactly what her family is accusing you of. And I thought that was actually the sad part, because there are Muslims who do follow more the tenets of Islam, which is closer to what the gentleman was talking about. And they don't, do what this guy is Muhammad is talking about. So I think that he's a poor representation of the faith, from that regard.
Well, and it was funny to me too. A couple seasons back, I think it was on Before the 90 Days, there was Nicole with the short blonde bob, and what was her Mahmoud, and I think she moved to Egypt, and his family was constantly telling Mahmoud, like, that is not Islam, like that is like, you are like no, like you are twisting Islam, and they were constantly getting on him for like messing up the intention of the script. I don't know if it's called scripture, but that's the only word I know how to use. So anyways, like, that's not what that means, essentially. So it was like these older Muslims were like constantly trying to like educate the younger generation on like what actually was the intention of the religious doctrine.
Right. Well, because I agree with something that Danny Town said. She said Muhammad is young, he's young-minded and immature. And I think that through your immaturity and the young attitude that you have, it breeds insecurity. And because you have that insecurity, it forces you into a position where you're trying to, instead of trying to assert your own power and be powerful in and of yourself, you're trying to bully or break the person that you're trying to control so that you can control them. Like, there's a very subtle difference. Like, in a room full of people, you can always tell who's in charge, because when the person who is actually in charge, the boss, speaks, everybody stops to listen. When he walks through the room, everybody gives him a wide berth. He doesn't have to yell. He doesn't have to scream. He doesn't have to ask people to get out of his way, because people know to do these things, because that's who he is. And he doesn't have to yell and shout about it. The guy who has to tell everybody to shut up and get out of his way, get the F out of my way, that guy isn't running anything. And I think that's where these young guys who are in this position, they feel like they have these big shoes to fill, but they don't know how to do it. Like, they just don't have the skills to do it.
Definitely. For sure. The one thing that the wife, the older woman, said that I just thought was so like, yes, she says, if you put effort into your relationship, that will solve your problems. That is what Islam says. I was like, pretty sure Christianity says something similar. Probably Judaism says something similar. Like religion is not going to solve your relationship if you don't work at it. Right.
So. And that's the whole thing too, is that at the end of the day, whether it's Christianity, Judaism, or Islam, or Buddhist, Hindu, whatever the case may be, good advice is damn good advice.
Exactly. Yes. True. Yeah.
And that's just good advice. Like, if you want your relationship, Cody, if you want your relationships to work, invest in your relationships. It's like the bank. If you don't put nothing in, then when you go to get something out, there's not going to be anything there for you to take out, because you didn't invest anything in that relationship. So like when you see like guys like Muhammad and people like that in this particular instance, I won't, you know, carte blanche color him, but in this particular instance, he's using the religion and the faith as a catch-all. If I can tell you what to do, and as long as you follow the faith, you're supposed to do what I say. The whole idea that man was talking about, and I did videos about this with regard to Cody and patriarchy. The whole idea is, if you're actually a leader and you have partners, you want to listen to your partners. Because like even with Cody to Janelle, if Janelle is better with money, then you want to trust your partner, have the wisdom and intellect to recognize that, okay, if I'm in charge and I have a money issue, I'm going to put Janelle in charge of that money issue because she knows what the hell she's doing. You know what I mean? I'm not going to sit here and pretend like if I don't know, I don't know. But I know enough to get somebody who does know, and that's what makes a good leader. And if you don't have that intellect, you don't have that maturity, then you're a shit leader, and all you're going to do is lead your followers into ruination. You know, point blank.
Yep. So Eli and Lori.
Oh, wow.
So Eli and Lori, they meet up. Lori is shopping for Passover. They're going to be hosting Seder at their apartment. Lori tells us so she's from New England. I don't know if she's from Boston, but she says she's from New England. My husband is from Boston. When I tell you that New Englanders, chowder, they eat seafood. Like these people eat seafood. When she was saying how much she was going to miss like lobster and clams and all this stuff. And then Eli is like, he's like, that's not kosher. He calls seafood bottom feeders from the ocean. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, like, yeah.
I know that is, they don't eat that because it's viewed as unclean. But I feel like Eli always tries to get like a jab in, you know?
Yeah, because there's no one of the things that makes this a little harder is because, especially because it's religion, there always seems to be like some kind of there's a point where he's condescending to her, like he's being condescending.
Yeah, for sure.
So oh yeah, you guys are eating basically sea roaches. Like what? Like what are you talking about? Lobsters are expensive. Like no,
well, and I just had a thought because when we first meet them, he says that when they met, he was already 2 years sober. So I wonder if she was like not as far along in her sobriety, in her recovery, or was she like in active addiction when he met her? And does he feel like superior to her in some way because like he witnessed like kind of her rock bottom? I don't know. Because he definitely does condescend to her for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I think that also could be because another possibility, I'll say it that way, another possibility could just be because she's joining his religion and this is something that he knows more about. So sure. I have more knowledge and I'm more knowledgeable about this thing and you know very little. So I'm teaching you, I'm schooling you. And again, this gets kind of into that whole infantilization aspect where, I'm kind of the parent and you're kind of the child and I'm teaching you how to live your life as a proper person or whatever. So, I'm not a big fan of that. Danny had asked, talking about the the religious aspect with him being so strict about like as far as the food and everything else. But they still live together and they still I'm assuming they haven't really said that they haven't done this, but I'm assuming they doing the naked mambo.
Or they can do doggy style up until they get married, right?
Right, exactly. There's certain things they can do and can't do. Good Catholic girls know what I'm talking about. But the whole thing is that he also has like a whole body full of tattoos, which is also not a part of the faith. So I mean, they're very particular about what they pick and what they don't pick, and what, if you don't wear a wig, then you're not going to make it into heaven, and you can't be a Jew. But I have a couple tattoos, and it is what it is.
Mhm.
It's not a big rule. That's a little rule. Like, apparently it's a big rule. So, I mean, I think they're picking and choosing once again.
Yeah. So, Lori, she gets a call from the rabbi. She's going to be able to take her conversion test too soon. And this is like a really big deal. Something that I was like, this is actually really sweet. The Mazel Tov song, I thought that was really sweet. And I love that they sing that for like any time that there's something to be happy or joyous or celebratory about. That everybody knows it. It's like everybody in the store knew the song and everyone was singing it. Like, that just makes you feel good. I liked it. That was like a joyful moment.
Right. Well, I think that's just an example of a community. Like, what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
So it's kind of cool to see like that community coming together, especially for something, because that's a big deal. Like her coming into the faith or doing a conversion, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool. That was kind of cool.
For sure. And then I don't know why, but I had this perception that Lori's family, I don't know, maybe they weren't like cool with the conversion, but they weren't like, I mean, it was no Chris and Lensa situation. Right. Like it wasn't like, but to come to find out, like Lori's mom is having a really hard time. And we find out from Lori's sister who comes over that Lori's mom feels like she's losing a daughter. It's like,
right.
That's bad.
Well, you know what? I take exception to that just because when parents, that's a hard thing to say. I'm losing a child.
Yeah.
If you can pick your phone up and call that child, you haven't lost a child. Maybe you don't have as much access to them, but you can call them, you can talk to them. She certainly wants to talk to you, so you haven't lost them. I think what kind of had them afraid was when they'd talked about Christmas and her not coming out for Christmas because she was with Eli's family. And that might have sparked a lot of the concern that, when the grandkids come, I'm not going to get to spend Christmas with them. But let's be honest, she's getting married. And not every family, when you marry into somebody's family or they marry into your family, however you want to put it, you guys, sometimes you're going to have to split holidays. There might be holidays you don't get to see them. It's just how it works,
My family lives across the country.
Right.
So it's, every get together is a whole ordeal. And like my husband and I were in the midst of struggling with, we want our kids to like have Christmas traditions here, but my whole family lives in California. So that's just, it's not going to always be possible. So this year we're going to California for Christmas. So,
but even then it's like, it's not a thing where you're saying like on December 20th, you know what, I'm gonna go to my mom's house. You know what I mean? Like it's I'm planning to go to my mom's house for Christmas or my parents' house for Christmas. And it's what, August? You know what I mean?
But I also think of it like, say someone was like in grad school, getting their master, or they're in nursing school, they're in medical school, they're in law school. These are short periods of time that suck up like all of your time, right? Like you are studying, you are like and people can correct me that are, I think Tracy, who is Jewish, not Orthodox, but maybe can correct me. Is this just a high study time, the conversion classes and stuff, like that she's, learning all the customs, so she doesn't have a lot of time around Hanukkah to also go do like Christmas traditions with her family because she's literally in the middle of converting. Like, will it lighten up for her? I don't know. But like, so I'm just, in my mind, I'm like equating it to being in like grad school. Like,
right.
Like once you convert, once you pass your test, things will lighten up a little bit.
Right.
I don't.
Well, I think too, you also have to take into consideration because she did have she's still in recovery at the moment. Like,
Yeah.
does she really need, and this is like to the parents and even to the sister, does she really need stressors? Like additional stressors, is that like the most positive thing you can do to somebody who is in recovery? Oh, mom feels like she's going to be totally ignored and you're going to, keep her away from your kids and she's never going to see her grandkids. And by the way, she's missing you and feels like she's losing a daughter. Good luck with your recovery. I mean, what the hell are you doing? Like, you know what I mean? You're
Yeah.
throwing a bomb in her whole stuff,
Yeah,
You're not
like I
supporting
don't know Lori, like obviously personally, to be able to be like, oh, I don't know if this is a good idea. Like, I don't know how like dedicated to her sobriety she is, but that is a stressor for sure.
Right.
And
Right.
like Chris's dad said, like, how do you let somebody change something that is fundamentally you?
Right. Right. Well,
And I guess
sometimes
Lori's mom is kind of wondering the same thing, just she's passive aggressively doing it through her sister.
right. Well, because even with that, it's kind of funny
Yeah.
to me because if you listen to Lori's story, after her dad died, she's essentially not a Catholic anymore. So she
Right.
lost her religion, she lost her faith. And if she's finding, and here's the thing, like at some point, I understand everybody wants to be close with their loved ones and have these relationships, but at some point you have to look out for your loved one. And if the thing that they want makes them happy, you should want for them the thing that they want for themselves. If she's finding solace, happiness, and peace in her pursuit of this new religion, maybe she was blowing it off and pretending like it wasn't a big deal because she was too afraid of failure. But when she got the call, she seemed kind of excited about it. She went out, you know what I mean? So it might be the thing where she actually wants to do it, but she's afraid that she won't be able to do it. So this is a way she can try to let herself down easier by pretending like it's not a big deal.
She also seemed a lot more jazzed about the wig. She found one that she really liked, and she even went so far as to like show it off. Like, if you don't like something, you're not showing it off, right?
Right.
So she was like, hey, look, sis, like, look at this. This obviously like isn't styled, but like, isn't it cute? And so to me, it really did come off that she was a lot more enthusiastic about converting than we saw in previous episodes.
Right. And I didn't really care for the sister's attack because she started giving her shots and talking about, well, I don't understand why it's such a big deal. And, you don't look good. And, if she's excited about it, let it be excited about it.
Yeah.
And I understand, like, it might not. And here's the thing, too. Just like you don't have to respond to every text message or DM that comes in. You don't have to, give your opinion on what you think about stuff. If she's excited about it, it doesn't matter whether it makes sense to you or not. Like, this doesn't make sense why you have to wear a wig if it looks just like your hair. If she's okay with it, what difference does it make to you? Right.
And I think as a family member, if I was just watching that documentary on like the 7M like TikTok cult or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think like as a family member, if you have someone you love that is joining an organization, I think you ask yourself some questions. And one is like, are they going to be safe? Are they going to be like nurtured, accepted, like things like that? I would answer yes to all of those in Lori's situation. So in that regard, like, okay, maybe it's not for you, but that's okay.
Right.
Well,
because even with the 7M thing,
Uh-huh.
with that, if you are, because they gave one side of it, but on the other side, I could also see a situation where the sister's saying, like, look, if this is something I'm really into and I really believe it, and every time I meet with you, you tell me I should stop doing it, all that's going to happen is they're going to stop wanting to meet with you. And Lori's sister can put herself in a situation where if you push her too hard and she's really about becoming an Orthodox Jew, if she's able to complete this conversion and this is what she does with her life and she gets married to Eli and she starts having kids, Guess who's not getting phone calls? You understand what I mean? So you can put yourself in that bad situation.
Yeah. And, I kind of view, because there's like high demand situations, like with the 7M, where they're essentially like cut off from family. I took this situation with Lori completely differently, because it's like she's studying. Like
Right.
there is like a reason why she's busy. And I'm assuming both of these people also work. They're also really into working out. Working out takes time out of your day. So these are busy people. It's not like, oh, give me all your money. Don't talk to your parents. I never heard anybody say that to her. It was just like, hey, you need to learn all these things, so maybe don't go out on Friday or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, because then too, at the same time, like I look at the place where she is. So if she's in a situation where she's happy, she's healthy, and she's doing everything she needs to do to stay clean, if she doesn't call you, she wasn't calling you I'm sure she wasn't calling you when she was out there getting messed up either. And if she's doing something positive, let her do that positive thing for herself, and I'll catch up with you on the backdrop. You know what I mean? I'll catch up with you when I catch up with you.
Yeah.
But you don't have to keep dragging her.
Yeah. Well, I can't believe that next week is the finale. I'm kind of bummed. I'm excited, because that means like the week after next is Sister Wives, but I'm like, I'm really invested, especially now that we know shit really hits the fan with Elmer and
it sounds like all of them, the whole relationships blew up. Like all the relationships blew up.
Actually, like Eli and Lori seem to be the most solid at the moment. I mean, they have their problems, but yeah.
Unless she fails that test, in which case,
true.
It's over.
Well, I think also because the lineage passes through the mother, like there's a lot of pressure on her to get her shit together.
Yeah, because Eli's mom is absolutely not accepting her if she doesn't pass.
She's not messing around. Because her grandkids will be Jewish, like
100%. Like she's not playing around with her. So
nope. She is Chris's dad, but the Orthodox Jewish version.
Right. So I'm kind of curious to see how it works out. Like I hope that we get a little more closure on some of the bigger issues. And to be honest with you, I just hope that, like, even beyond just the religious conversions and people becoming this and that and other, just being able to find happiness with a partner who you can get along with.
Yeah.
And finding that harmony within your relationship, as opposed to just trying to create a doppelganger of your faith or belief system or whatever the case may be. Like, it's just, I don't know.
For one, I know that this show was like really, some people liked it, some people didn't. Like there's other content creators that I talked to that never really got into it. I don't know. I found this fascinating. I think the conversation surrounding something that's typically something that's not able to be changed, your identity, which religion usually is very much wrapped up in that. I just found it really interesting. Right.
Yeah, I do like those kind of conversations, especially like unfortunately, in order to make the show, they have situations where they're in such extreme versions of their faith. Like the Orthodox Jew is like the fundamentalist. Like a fundamentalist Christian. So,
right.
And then you pair them with like a fundamentalist Muslim. Like it's going to be sparks automatically. These aren't like the sometimes Sunday folks. These are like they're every service, every mass. They're there, front and center. Like what's name said? I had you. Who is it? The one, the black guy with
George.
Okay, George.
Or the Chris's dad.
Yeah, Chris's dad. Yeah, he said.
George. I think his name's George.
Yeah, he said I had you in church Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Like these guys are serious. Like that's not these aren't like passing beliefs for them. This is like serious. So of course you're going to have struggles in those relationships because they're about these are hardcore folks in these religions.
Yes. Definitely.
But you said Sister Wives. Are you looking forward to the season? Do you have high hopes for the season, or?
I'm so looking forward to it. I'm concerned because I know obviously we're gonna pick up at the end of season 18. A lot of season 17 and 18 obviously involved Garrison and his relationship with Cody. I don't think that you can just gloss over that. So that's going to be really heartbreaking to go through as just a community. And obviously we're not their family, but we've watched these kids grow up. It's gonna suck. And so I'm not looking forward to that. But I'm also like, Christine had made a post the other day referencing healing out loud. And I feel like we see that with Janelle. I think we see that with Mary. I'm interested in that journey with the OG. Like them, Janelle is moving to North Carolina. She bought land. She wants to like start a farm or whatever. Like, I'm very interested in seeing her do something positive, you know?
Right. Well, because I think that there's a point too where they had asked Janelle after everything happened with Big G's, they had asked if she wanted to stop filming. And she said that she wanted to keep filming. She wanted to keep going. And some people may look at that like, oh, it's cold, it's callous, she's about the money or whatever. But I think that I take it more that she was answering a higher calling by saying that there are probably people who are going through similar situations. And I'm going to try to use my family as an example of how we dealt with it and the realities of what it's like to deal with this type of circumstance within the family. The only thing that I genuinely hope, and I think that this will kind of make or break the series, is how TLC handles it. Like, if they sensationalize it, they will destroy the show. Like, hands down, they will destroy the show.
Yeah.
But if they handle it with dignity and respect for Big G's, as well as Garrison, as well as the family members, then I think that it could be something very positive.
What I would almost prefer to see, because obviously I feel like the only option is to head on address it. It's like, it's Cody's relationship with his kids has been a major plot line, for lack of a better word, for the last 2 years. There's no getting around this, right? This is like the thing, and the show is 2 years behind, and it doesn't seem like they're gonna speed it up anytime soon, but they're going to have to address it. I think the only way is to go head on into it. What I would love to see is like whatever episode they do about it is just completely done by the kids, by his sons, and like not even by the parents. Like, let the kids talk about Garrison. And what Garrison meant to them, you know, because I would rather see that, honestly. But I don't know how it will be. I will say I've been struggling since hearing of the listing with some unkind thoughts, and it's been hard to kind of not just kind of be totally loose-lipped and say like everything on my mind, because honestly, I feel like the move to Flagstaff was relationship destroying in so many ways.
Right.
And I think I said in one of my videos that I feel like Cody and Robin, it's almost like it should be the Beetlejuice house to them. Like, they shouldn't be able to leave. I don't know. Like, you made your bed. Like, that's your house, you know?
Right. You were determined to live there.
Like, I don't want you to be happy anywhere else. Because you know who doesn't get to leave Flagstaff? Garrison doesn't get to leave Flagstaff.
Right.
So anyways, I've been struggling with some really unkind thoughts about the listing. And yeah, anyways.
Well, here's something that I've been playing around with for the last couple of days when I heard about the listing. I did a whole video on it, and I think I left it out of the video, but I'll share it here. One of the crazy thoughts I had about this listing was one, you could take it as a storyline application because it's such a horrible time for you to put a $1.6 million house on the market is after school starts. Like you're right around the corner from the holidays. So you're basically not really going to get any real bites on the house until sometime in maybe January, February. And that might push like actual sales back to like January or June, May, June, in which case you're going to have to start cutting the price down. So it's just a horrible time for you to put the house up.
Yeah.
Which they actually learned before when they moved from Las Vegas to Nevada. This is a lesson that they already learned. So it's kind of crazy that they're repeating it, but it's the Brown family. So, oh, well. But
and it's just like, why?
Right. Why now?
Are you moving within Flagstaff? Are you downsizing? Is this move so that Mary and Janelle can recoup some of their money? Because if that is the reason, I'm totally cool with the house sale. If they're if Cody just got the itch to move, like you fucking ruined your whole family, dude.
Right. Well, I mean, at the same time, it could be to wash the money. Because if they are talking about lawyers and getting, like, you got to wash that money. So you try to layer it out by just making other purchases, making more additional purchases from that money. Because if the house is sitting there, they can put a lien on the house. And they can force that sale. But if you start splitting that money up to different places, you give some to Dayton so he could go buy a house. You give some to Aurora or even Brianna so that they could buy homes. You know, you could still maintain your personal value, but it's starting to create additional problems. But one of the things that struck me too is that it could also be a storyline thing because it's kind of weird that all this information just happened to drop 2 weeks before the show starts. Like, convenient. But
don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Right, exactly. But one of the things that struck me, and here's a crazy thought. What if they are selling the house because they realize that if you look at where they are right now, Mary and Christine live in Utah. Janelle and a good portion of the kids are moving to North Carolina. She lives there with Kayla. McKelty moved down there. So it's a good portion of kids are down there. What if they're selling a house so that they can buy something in North Carolina so that they can continue filming?
Well, I see. I would have been concerned, but like, look at Plathville. I mean, I don't know if you watch Plathville, but like, they're all like half of the families in Florida, half of the families in Georgia. Olivia's in Los Angeles, like, and they're filming all of them. So if the ratings are there, and they're there at the moment, I think that they will follow these people around.
Well, but there's a problem though, because with Cody and Robin, they don't like talking about their particular relationship, and they like to shit on the other cast members. So they have to be in close proximity to the other cast members so that it makes sense that they would actually talk about them. Otherwise, you look like a crazy person. You know what I mean? Like you guys broke up how many years ago?
If Cody and Robin just quit the show, I feel like the OG3 would spill so much more tea. I don't know. Like, I feel like they would not be as guarded with their thoughts on things. So that would be interesting. I don't know.
Well, the next move might be a book. So keep it up.
Somebody
if this bad boy is.
Yeah, give us something.
Right. If this bad boy is, they might start dropping books.
Yeah. What do you have coming down the pipeline this week, James?
Lots of videos coming out. I've been releasing videos daily. So check the page, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell for notification, and you'll be notified when I upload new stuff. What about you? What you got going on?
I'll have more videos coming out this week. And yeah, so just stay tuned. And thank you to all of our moderators tonight. I know I saw BCat and Sarcasm. So I was Lizzie off tonight.
Oh, she's on vacation. She's out.
Good for her. How dare she?
Yeah, all my mods are on vacation.
Okay.
That's why I had the crazy.
The Kremlin's got in, James.
Right. The one time that I don't have anybody here.
I know. I'm like, usually our chat is so chill. I'm not sure our moderators really ever have to like get too
crazy. Yeah.
Crazy. I hope not anyways, but it's like the one time spam.
Right.
All right. Oh, someone's asking what's happening with the court channel.
Oh, I got the court channel up. That's part of what I'm doing too, is that I have to get my in fairness, I want to get some kind of semblance of a schedule so that I can maintain steady videos on both channels. So I'm getting to that point now where I'll be dropping more videos. I have the one video up, and I'm going to start recording additional videos. So I should be releasing videos on that channel as well daily. So,
wow, James.
Yeah. Trying to get serious.
Yeah. Good on ya. All right. Well, everybody take care and have a wonderful evening. Yep. We will see you guys in the next video.
All right. See you next week.
Bye.